Hello, YouTube! AshtonAkai here, and we are back with another TBU Wi-Fi battle. That's right, we're here with Week 4 at last against Onesie Bennett and his AS Monferno. So, if you haven't seen the team analysis video yet, make sure you go check it out. It'll be linked in the description either kind of now or after the battle, just because, as always, you know, I talked more about my sets, why I brought exactly what I brought, and what I was kind of afraid of on his side. In addition, Alex's links will be in the description below, and I fully encourage you guys to go check him out. He's a really cool dude. Like I said in the team analysis, a good pal of mine, and I seriously think you, if for somehow you're a person who's subbed to me who hasn't checked his content out already, you won't be disappointed. So. Let's jump right into the battle, shall we? The team he's chosen to bring: Megalodius, Registeel, Lantern, Sneasel, Staraptor, and Sylveon. And honestly, this is more or less what I was expecting. I'm glad not to see that the Tyrantrum hasn't made an appearance, because I actually don't have a switch into that thing. So, if anything, this is kind of like, within reason, sort of the matchup that I would have most hoped to see, if that makes sense. And that's very good, because after last week's debacle, I really need to get back to winning ways here, and against an opponent like Alex, who is unfamiliar, who's like I've not actually battled before, and who I know for a fact to be a skilled player, even though he's had a bit of a rough season. Like, it's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination to do just that. So, without any further introduction on my part, let's jump right in and see if the Bidoofs are going to come out of this one 2-2, looking at a losing streak for like the third season in a row, or 3-1 and back to winning ways. Right, so based on the team which he's brought, I felt like my best lead was probably going to be my Fortress, and it turns out I was right, as he leads off with his Sylveon. Now, remember, I'm a speed-invested offensive Fortress, so I can just go straight for the heavy slam. I go first, which tells me that he's not speed-invested, and I get huge damage off, as he's going to counter with the Hyper Voice. Going to do around, what is that, maybe 45%, and we're going to see the leftovers on Sylveon. So it's a defensive variant of Sylveon. That's the only way he actually takes that hit. It's an Oko if he's offensive. And now, I gambled. Earthquake will knock out the Sylveon from where it is, and both of his switch-ins to Heavy Slam are weak to Earthquake, so I'm going to gamble, and it's going to pay off as he switches that into his Lantern, and we get, that thing is an easy 2-hit KO, showing that that's a specially defensive, probably a more specially defensive variant of Lantern, and basically is going to put him in a position where he's forced to stay in here, sack his Lantern off to this Earthquake. Fortress gets itself a KO, and we take an early 6-5 lead and get rid of something which was potentially going to be a real problem. So Staraptor comes in here, and I have a switch into this thing, well, a switch in depending upon its set, being my defensive Zapdos. Now, I am going to switch right into a Brave Bird. I didn't think he'd go for a Double Edge on Fortress. Double Edge would have hurt quite a bit more. And based on the damage, we're going to see that he is most likely Jolly Band. So that is really good to know. I was expecting Scarf, but I ran the calcs as soon as I took that hit, and saw that even, like, that did more than even Adamant Scarf, but not enough to be Adamant Band. So you can only really conclude Jolly Band. Now, I'm going to roost on the switch as he goes out into his Registeel, clearly wanting not to lose his Staraptor. But I can't do massive work against this thing, and I do have Rapid Spin on my Fortress just to stop this thing from keeping its rocks up. So I pull a switch into Fortress, and on the following turn, I'm going to go for a Rapid Spin. Just go ahead and get rid of his rocks. You know, as he's going to go for the Thunder Wave, he's going to paralyze my Fortress, but that really isn't a big deal, because all this means now is I'm going to be slower than him, which means I'll always Rapid Spin second, which means he won't, provided I don't get fully parried, I'm going to be able to keep his rocks off the field. Now, I decided to get my own rocks up here, as he's going to go for the Hammer Arm, and it's going to do pretty much nothing. That actually was because of a misgen, and I'll explain that at the end. But yeah, basically, so I'm going to get my rocks up here. On the next turn, he's going to go for his own rocks, as I'm fairly certain I go for an Earthquake here. Yeah, I do. Just trying to gauge what sort of Registeel it was, and knowing that I'm fairly safe in this position. Based on the damage, we see that he's probably more specially defensive, because that's a pretty comfortable, that's a 3-hit KO. So on the following turn, he's going to go for the Protect, as I go for a Rapid Spin here, trying to get rid of get rid of those rocks he's put up. And basically, this is where I'm starting to try to work on a plan here, because I don't have anything which really wants to take Registeel on head-on that wants to switch into it. He's going to miss a hammer arm there, which is really unfortunate. I don't know that one mattered in the long run, but as you guys are going to see, there's another miss later on which definitely could have mattered. But anyway, yeah, so he then puts, basically, I rapid spin this rocks away. Now he puts his rocks back up. I'm going to go for another Earthquake here, just kind of gradually trying to wear the Registeel down. And it's about now that it dawned on me that like, he's repeatedly putting his rocks back up against Fortress, which means that I can probably count on him to, he sees this is probably the same way that I do, like a pretty safe position for him. He can keep clicking Hammer Arm, getting damage on me and gradually wear me down, hoping that I'll get fully paralyzed like I just did there, to stop me rapid spinning my rocks away. Now, basically I realized this, and this is when I started to come up with a plan. My Cussed Up Berry is actually going to proc there. I'm low enough for it, but he protects anyway, and then I actually I get fully paralyzed, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Like, not the wasted Cussed Up, but you know, what can you do? But anyway, back to what I was saying. I've come up with a plan. So I'm going to keep trying to rapid spin these rocks away. I'm perfectly happy to sack Fortress here if it comes to it, but hopefully won't have to. Fortunately, I don't get fully paralyzed there and can get my rapid spin off. Now, we know that he's feeling pretty safe where he is, and that he's probably going to put his rocks back up right here rather than going for the Hammer Arm. So this is the perfect opportunity for me to pull a switch right out into my Piloswine. Now, if you watch my team analysis, you know what sort of Piloswine this is. It's got just enough speed to outrun a minimum speed invested Registeel, I think like 4 in speed, and has Curse to set up on Registeel. We know that his only attacking move is Hammer Arm, which I can definitely take at +1, and I'm going to luck out here as he's going to go for the Protect as I set up my first Curse. And now Piloswine is looking hella dangerous. So I'm in here against Registeel, and especially because he's specially defensive, he's actually in range of a +1 Earthquake. So I'm just going to go for it now to try to get rid of this big pain. But wanting to try to preserve his Registeel, Alex is going to switch right out into Fernando, the Sylveon, and sack it off to this Earthquake. So that is a KO for Piloswine. And remember in the team analysis when I said that his team has a bit of a Mammo coverage weakness? We're going to start to see effects of that now. So Staraptor is going to come in, going to take rocks damage, and he's actually in range of a +1 Ice Shard. So I'm going to click Ice Shard, and this is a second kill for Piloswine, and we are in a really, really strong position now, 6-3 up as the Sneasel comes in. Now I know he's going for a knockoff here, but I don't really want, like, I'm more than happy to lose my Violet at this point. My whole goal with Piloswine was kind of to truck through as many of his Mons as possible after getting a Curse boost, not really to sweep. So I'm more than happy to kind of trade my Violet to knock out the Sneasels here. That's a third kill third KO for Piloswine. Now he sends in his Mega Latias, and I was thinking, I ran the calcs, and a Draco Meteor knocks me out from here. So I clicked Ice Shard, knowing that it's not going to knock him out, but knowing that if he goes for Draco, it will put him in range where a copycat Draco Meteor from Liepard will knock him out. So that actually is a 2-hit KO, but he doesn't have Draco Meteor. He has Dragon Pulse, which means I'm actually going to take this hit, and that is going to allow me to go for another Ice Shard to knock out the Mega Lati. But Alex sees this coming and makes what I think is probably his best move there, knowing that I've Cursed and I'm going to be slower than his Registeel, and switches out into his Registeel. Now, he eats that Ice Shard up. At this point, I ran the calc and saw that if he is a careful, especially defensive Registeel, Hammer Arm has a good chance to knock me out here, but I actually dodge another Hammer Arm, which is going to mean that Piloswine is actually going to be able to clean up the game, because I'm going to take down the Registeel. That crit didn't matter, and then all he has left is his Mega Latias, which is well within Ice Shard range. So, you know, I'm going to click Ice Shard, and for the for the second time, for like second time going now, I'm going to take what is a 6-0 victory in my week 4 match of the Battle Union. And honestly, I really don't even know what to say about that match. I know we talked after, and I know he was frustrated with the way he played. I know, you know, he's had a lot of stuff going on, and definitely some things that kind of, like, particularly the offensive Fortress, that kind of, you know, caught him off guard a little bit. Maybe might not have in a different situation, in a different set of circumstances. That's hard to say, but he was desperately unlucky with those 2 hammer-arm misses, because I mean 90% accurate, you really would not expect it to miss twice in the same match. But the reason that it kind of didn't matter was because we were actually talking after, and he was berating himself for his Registeel being calm. But that was actually, there was a bit of a genning issue. He ended up with a calm Registeel, and so of course calm reducing your attack stat meant that all of my calcs were a little bit out, and that he wouldn't have not only would he have been doing more damage to the fortress with hammer arms, and almost definitely this wouldn't have been a 6-0, but had he if that hadn't had he connected with that hammer arm on the Piloswine, it would have knocked it out, and then we're taking what turned out to be a pretty one-sided 6-0 and dropping it down to a slightly better 4-0. So GG Alex for what it's worth. I mean, your team was hellishly scary. I'm just glad that I was able to make Curse Piloswine work, and work in such a fashion. So not a lot else really from me. Alex is somebody that I'm sure will pick himself up from a result like this, and will come back swinging next week. He's had a bit of a rough start to the season, but what they say about form and class. So I doubt very much that will continue. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure you leave a like and comment down below if you did, because it really helps me out, as well as as helping the channel out, and I really appreciate it. And if somehow this is your first time seeing a video on my channel, then welcome. There's a subscribe button if you saw enough to make you want to push it. As the remainder of the Battle Unions as the season will of course be covered on my channel. So if you want to see more, there's a button there for you to press. So with that, I hope you all have had the most excellent of days, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.